the founder of Havana Capital, which invests in technology and innovation in startups solving for climate action and sustainability. Next up, we have Neelam Dhawan. She was a former MD in HCL, IBM, Microsoft, and Hewlett-Packard. She also serves at the board for Tech Mahindra and also at the Nudge Institute. Then we have Dr. Sharad Sharma. He co-founded iSpirit Foundation. He's a passionate evangelist for software product ecosystems in India. And we have Umakant Soni. He's a co-founder of AI Foundry, which focuses on building leapfrog AI ventures for the next 6 billion users. And this session will be moderated by Guru Bhat. He's a passionate technologist and a senior director of the Android team at Google. And his mission is to bring the computing superpowers to all of humanity through the largest technology ecosystem of Android. Oh, over to you, Guru.
Thank you very much. Fabulous. I know that we are the closing session, but it looks like the session is closed already, gauging by the number of people in the audience. But nonetheless, we'll get started. I actually have, I don't know how many of you watched Obama's speech this week, where he said, I was the dumbest person they could find who will actually follow Michelle Obama's speech. I feel similarly. I'm the dumbest person who will moderate such a panel of intellectual heavyweights. So I presume I'll do very little talking, and I'll let the panel enrich your lives in the evening with all the different experiences they've had.
We have to bribe him to say that, by the way.
So the topic is, I think, intentionally labeled in a very controversial way. AI friend or foe is something that's top of mind for the world. There's a lot of hype around it. I rarely attend any meeting now where the word AI doesn't come up at least once, if not 100 times. And the news cycle is full of, oh my God, are these disembodied robots going to gain volition of their own and come and turn against their human masters? Is this going to happen sometime in the near future? All that apart, obviously there are a lot of good things that are happening as well. AI can be a powerful force for good with all that's happening in the world around advances in the way AI can help us along a variety of different dimensions, health not just being one of them. So I'll probably just go around the panel to get their thoughts on this, the topic of AI friend or foe. I think I was also watching recently I was watching this excellent commencement speech by Seinfeld, and in that he had a section where he riffed on AI a little bit, and he was talking about what he likes about the current state of things is we are smart enough to create AI, but we are also dumb enough to need AI, and we are so stupid that we can't decide whether AI is a friend or foe. So with that, Umakant, would love to hear your thoughts, on this topic of AI friend or foe. What do you think your position is? Is it a friend? Is it foe? And why do you think so?
Well, so just to give you a quick background where I come from, I spent last 15 years in AI space. We started an AI chatbot company in 2009-10, probably 3 years before OpenAI started. Set up a first AI-focused venture fund called Pi Ventures. Set up a AI and robotics technology park, Art Park, incubated at Institute of Science. So having spent all these years, I don't know whether I have a position or not. I mean, just to, because I feel that, AI is like a baby. And I was narrating and we was debating about this, that, one of my favorite Indian Bollywood movies used to be those movies where, there is a set of twins who get separated in one of the melas. By the way, Kumbh Mela, we still lose 40,000 children, each time. It's amazing. But yeah, those movies, and one of them actually grows up to become a cop and another one becomes a dacoit, right? So just like human intelligence is, dual-edged in that sense, I think AI, when it becomes more closer to human intelligence, is going to be Similarly, it could be friend or foe. The challenge I perceive is that, like, what kind of environment we are allowing it to grow in, right? If we can, allow, or, build a cradle for it, where it can be supported, it can be nurtured to become a friend, and maybe get regulated when it becomes foe. Maybe that's the right mix, because I see three clear, big opportunities which can be attempted with AI. One is that, we are all, our planet is aging. We're going to be short by 2 billion people by the end of 21st century. We're going to end at around 6.3 billion or so. Just to keep society running, we need to build some of these smart things, smarter than us. Today, US is, I think 17% of the people are above the age of 60. In Europe, it is 19%. Even in India, we will start declining by 2050 or so. So I think that is one big area where AI can help us with healthy aging. The second big area that I see is the climate change, and I think it's very real. It's here. If the floods in Wayanad and others don't remind us, every single degree rise that we actually see, it's not just going to be the water rising near the shores, but it's going to mean that extreme climatic events are going to move in shores. So I think, how do we actually, and it's a planet scale problem. It's not going to be, the cause and effect are separated by many variables. So it's a hard, complex problem. And we need the intelligence that AI could potentially help us navigate through these challenges. How do we keep climate check in control? What kind of solutions can we find? It's beyond human intuition. And that's a problem that I see AI playing a big, friend role in that. The third is I see is that, the cost to invent things is actually going to come down. Science is going to get democratized. I don't know whether you're following or not, but AlphaFold, which predicted how the proteins will unfold, showed us a massive opening in which the experimental results are equivalent to simulation results. And that is actually, I see, is a big, because right now there are a few labs where you can actually run experiments successfully, or you can, follow it along. But imagine that, every single child or every single person, whichever college it is going to, actually has access to these tools where they can run simulation. So I see that using simulation, we're going to, create new innovations. And I think if those innovations can be targeted toward SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, can we, reduce hunger? Can we reduce poverty? Can we eliminate the birth lottery? I think that's a huge enough canvas for us to paint with AI brush on. So I personally feel that, if we can think of growing AI in the right cradle where it attacks the large problems that we are unable to solve as humanity, that probably could be a great scenario.
Awesome. Thank you, Umakant. Anjali, I'll go to you just to get the audience's neck moving in a different direction from where it's been. I think Umakant has said a mouthful, so now there's very little left to cover in terms of the AI friend or foe. But maybe we can start with friend or foe, and why.
So AI is neither, actually. It's neither friend nor foe. It's a technology. And like any new invention, whether it was the discovery of oil, hydrocarbons as fuel, dare I say nuclear, electricity, plastics, all of these things are tools. So AI is a new technology. It is here. It has enormous transformative ability and power. Friend or foe depends on how we use it. And like most technologies, it's actually, you could say, is a car, is a two-wheeled, four-wheeled automotive vehicle, is it friend or foe? It's neither. If you use it to drive to school, it's a friend. If you use it to run someone over, it's a foe. So it's really what you do with it. It's people who create harm, not technologies. And hence I'm actually very, very excited by all the possibilities that, frankly, most new technologies give humanity. All the things Umakant mentioned here, we are an aging demography globally. And I cannot but think that it is not just coincidence that AI is emerging at a time when humanity needs to automate more and more, because we will have fewer of us. It's a good thing we'll have fewer of us because it's less burden on the planet. AI used for automating simple tasks should be able to liberate humans to do higher order, more enjoyable, more rewarding, more satisfying things. The application of AI into spaces like healthcare, where you can actually accelerate drug discovery. In fact, we can accelerate gene mapping, understanding of the body, perhaps eliminate disease entirely of some types. In computation that allows us to solve for climate change, perhaps accelerate new materials, reduce cycle times. All of that, to me, are very powerful positive applications. The flip side is you can also use it to spread fake news, to foment war. And AI has a very significant energy footprint because compute requirements are so high that in today's technology, the burden on our energy systems is going to be very large also, but perhaps AI will find a solution for that. AI is not an autonomous vehicle today. It still needs a driver, and humanity is still the driver. Where we take it, how we drive it. And AI is also in its infancy, and like most children, it's all about how you raise them. So it's how do we train our AI systems? Do we train them with bias so that they perpetuate and frankly make our current biases worse? Or they help us get to a fairer, better human system? I think these are all opportunities.
Oh, very well said, Anjali. And I think the critics of this notion that AI is apocalyptic in some way, and this tendency to keep thinking about it as a doomsday scenario, actually the criticism around that kind of approach is that it takes attention away from very real problems that we should be solving. Things like eliminating bias in the way you train your AI systems, etc.
I mean, listen, I'm a science fiction buff. I'm sure many of you are old enough to be of that Terminator Matrix generation. So you do think about Skynet is here. And yes, that is a possibility, but it need not be.
Sounds good. Neelam, over to you. I know that, just before the session, folks, all of us were around a table, and it was a very, very fascinating discussion because I got a preview of this panel discussion just before the panel discussion. So Neelam had some very powerful points as well. I'd love to hear that. And then the last word to Sharad, who I can guarantee you will regale you with his tales of history as well as the present day.
Thanks, Guru. When I think about AI, and I'm very excited about new technology, I'm always excited about new technology because it helps us be more productive, create something new, and takes the world and the economy ahead. We can sit back and say AI is not good for India, we are not going to adopt it. We perhaps will get left behind and the world will move on. So adopting new technology is always good. The reason why people keep thinking that AI is a foe, and I'm just adding to the points made by both the speakers, is, oh, it's going to create unemployment. We are going to lose jobs when AI comes in. But if we pause and we think about it, it'll create jobs too. Who's going to use all the intelligence which gets created? It's at the end of the day, it's going to be human beings. But what AI takes away is the repetitive tasks which we are doing, and perhaps also gives you enough information to do your job better. And as Anjali said, it's a tool. In our country, we worry about unemployment. We worry about skills for the future. We are looking at, is the talent in this country ready to be ready for the future? If you look at any industry, you take textile, the new equipment coming in. You look at manufacturing of automobiles in this country or electric vehicles, new technology is coming in. And the guy who was assembling with the screwdriver will say, I've lost my job because now you have automated shop floors. Whereas if the same person or the new teams develop new skills, they'll have the jobs. So AI is a tool, AI is a technology which will create jobs, and we have to use it wisely. We have to use it in a manner which it adds value and dimensions to us. We have to create talent for it. At the end of the day, it's going to create an economy which is of generating something like 15 trillion, plus minus. The numbers are 15 trillion. India can decide, yeah, it's a technology we don't like, We are not going to train on this. We're not going to use to improve our lives with it. And the rest of the world takes it. Or we decide we will be a country which knows how to use AI, create jobs around it, and then use it here. Yeah, I remember when the first AI conversation started, a new job got created, the prompt engineers, because people didn't know how to question AI, so there was a new job which got developed, prompt engineers. Second thing that happened, data scientists became very important, and instead of just data warehouses, people started building data lakes. Now, did we know how to build data lakes? Perhaps we didn't. But we learned, we created jobs, and these are high value jobs. So, in our country today, no matter which area we take, we lag behind in skills. Technology has been the biggest job creator in our country, and we need to adopt technology so that we continue to create jobs for the future, for ourselves and for rest of the world. I mean, we can't let this go to China, right? We can't let this go to US and say, oh, they are the ones who are doing everything in AI, and we just use AI. No, we will build AI, we will use AI, and we will tell the world how to use it. The only gap is skills. We need to develop skills, and we have enough talent in doing that. We talk about unemployment, we talk about hidden unemployment because we see people earning less than even the lowest level of income. How do we ensure they get to the next level? And believe me, AI is going to tell us how do we farm, how do we produce things, as well as how do we consume things. Today, AI is being used everywhere. We are so excited about the Bangalore airport. Your facial recognition works. You walk in and guess what? You're using DigiYatra. Well, that's the use of AI. You walk, you're using UPI all the time. We were talking about Truecaller. Truecaller is telling you, oh, this is a spam, this is a property agent trying to call you. How does it know this, right? They are all using AI to get to that brief. Of course, we can use it wrongly also. We can use it in any way, but that's true for everything, right? We have people, as he said, who will become a cop, and the other guy who will become a criminal, but both are twins, and that's how it happens. And I think technology itself will create those difficult situations where we shouldn't be using it. And he talked about porn, how AI is being used and Gen AI to create porn. And is that good for us? But I personally feel using it productively is the right thing to do. Developing skills for it is the right thing to do. And we should have the skills which the world doesn't have used for AI. So that will give us that much more of the 15 trillion economy in our country.
Awesome. One thing is very clear. AI has a friend in you, Neelam, for sure. Quick public service announcement. You see the QR code coming up behind us. Please, if you have questions, scan the QR code and make sure you put in your questions. There will be a point in time in the near future where I will come to the audience as well for your questions. So keep them handy, folks. Sharad, over to you. I would love for the audience to get your very different take and perspective on this.
How many of you think AI is three questions? Raise your hand only to one of them. Is it a friend? Okay.
Lots of AI friends here.
Is it a foe? All right. Is it both? Okay. So clearly, I think our panelists have made a very good argument here, which is the view that they have. It's a friend and a foe, and that is true for almost any technology, as they also mentioned. What is different about this time? I think it is important to see. So in what Anjali mentioned, she mentioned plastics and many other things. I'll pick on one of them, which is nuclear. Nuclear is clearly a friend and a foe, right? And so therefore the thought process at that time, and a lot of thinking went into this, is to say that we'll amplify the good use cases, damp down the bad use cases. And now that we look back, some 75 years later, by and large that system has worked, right? So what's wrong with this? Why would that not work for AI? So there's a famous evolutionary biologist, his name is E.O. Wilson. He passed away 2 years ago. He's won every award in evolutionary biology, very well regarded. But when he died 2 years ago, you may have heard There was an obituary everywhere, but you may have heard this quote from him. He said, "We have a Paleolithic brain, medieval institutions, and godlike technology." Now, longer part of that quote was, "We are doomed." Right? So I think he said this for CRISPR. Later in time, he included AI into this, and, and he spent his last 20 years putting together a new way of thinking about how do you deal with this situation where it's both friend and a foe. Because the old model was that you had technologists who were completely permissive technologists. If you're a nuclear technologist, you are not prevented from trying anything out. You're allowed to do whatever you like. There are no restrictions on you, because society shall determine what's a good use case and a bad use case. Now remember, that worked because society is what? Institutions and individuals, both of which AI can hack. And we know it is able to hack it well. Right? So therefore, that model will not work. Therefore, we have to devise a new system in which the technologists take responsibility for being responsible technologists, which means they have to take cues and say that, look, in some areas, we are okay, we'll build permissive technology. In some areas, we'll build restrictive technology. How do they know? Where do they take the cues from? They have to take the cues from the same place the regulators are taking the cues. Market players have to take that cue. So do you know the first place where this is being attempted, believe it or not, is India, in our data policy. So we have a market collective, a SRO called Sahamati, which is a collection of market players. The only way to become a market player there is to say that you will follow these practices of good behavior with personal data. You have a regulator which is taking the cues from the same place. And then there are public technologies building the DEPA, the underlying public technology platform, the DPI for it, which is driven by the same thing. So DEPA plus law plus Sahamati is a triangulation which is happening. It is happening in health. So there is altogether a new way of governing this that will have to emerge. I think India can be at the lead of it. It is already in the first few set of countries that are thinking about this very deeply. So yes, it's a friend and foe, but the way we manage this friend and foe situation is fundamentally different from the way we've had to manage it in the past. I'll come back to other points later.
Sounds good, Sharad. Thank you. Thank you so much. As the discussion is evolving, I had, maybe I'll introduce a rapid fire round here for each of the panelists. We talked about many different uses, and audience, I would like all of you to also kind of not shout out the answers to these questions, just keep them in your mind, but think about it. It's a thought exercise. When you look at the last, let's say, fortnight or a month, or, whatever time frame you want to choose. Anjali, I'll start with you and walk down the line in order. Can you think of one AI use case that you felt delighted by, where you felt like, wow, this is really cool, and one that you felt a little frightened by? I'd love to know, this friend and foe that we've kind of landed on. I'd love to kind of test that a little bit.
I think I was delighted by Eightfold, which is, on being able to accelerate our understanding of the body and hence possibly cures and diseases and so on. So delighted by that. I also read an interview, and he's a fairly sort of introvert person, doesn't give too many interviews, of the founder of Palantir.
Yes.
And I was like, my God, this is amazing, right? You can use AI.
New York Times one with Alex Karp.
New York Times with Alex Karp. So Alex Karp is the founder of Palantir and one of the very early AI entrepreneurs, built a very large company in defense technologies using AI. And on the one hand, of course, you need defense for your country, so I'm delighted with that because it helps defend. At the same time, one wonders what else it does.
Very nice, yes.
So I think all of us use AI every day. All of us are using UPI. UPI uses AI. If you look at it in whatever way we use it, but we are using AI in that application also. And it is really makes life so easy for all of us, especially people who are using apps to buy things, to sell things, to look at information on it. And that's a delight. It has made life so much easier, and we are using it every day in our lives. And I see most banks are using AI, so which is again a delight. You don't have to run around for loans for housing and cars. The processes have got automated. They have checked your profiles with Crystal and so on, and it's all over the world. They've checked your data, and you get the loans cleared quickly. These are easy and delightful applications of AI to use. One of the recent ones which I really worried about was an image generated by Gen AI, and when you look at the image, it had close to 21 violations of copyright. So now you think about all the creative people who have developed many of these creatives, and without even checking with them, it just throws up that image, and you're absolutely, you get something what you want, but it is violating somebody else's copyright, which is like which is like stealing online without letting anyone know, and that's not acceptable. And I was quite shocked, because it did give that these are the people who have the copyrights for it, when we went deeper into that image.
Yeah. So right now, Umakant is feeling very happy with the positioning on the panel, because he gets the most amount of time to think of the... I'm putting some pressure on him right now in terms of what I'm expecting. But Sharad needs no pressure. He comes up with the right stuff all the time.
I think there are, so friend and foe, obviously, any technology, as I think we were talking when we were on the way here, mobile telephony didn't need any pressure to diffuse in society, right? It was so powerful, it just kind of diffused in society, and that would happen to AI. I think the business case for AI will ensure that there are enough people who will come and assist every business, whether they're talking to a BCG or a McKinsey or a ENY or a PwC or whoever their partner in technology transformation is, will now claim to offer them AI solutions. So I don't worry about that bucket at all, because that's going to happen, right? The bucket that I worry about is that there are obviously powerful use cases for primary education. Can we revamp education using AI? Can we teach critical thinking to children? Can we give them personalized study plans? There are many things that you can do in primary education with AI that won't happen simply on the back of market forces. And this is where I think all of you have an important role to play, right? Because you are the agents where the market refuses to go, right? And you are the people who have to help those use cases, primary health, primary education, and those areas, and take AI into those places and make it happen. So that's the friend part. The foe part is that India has 23 million babies every year. If you take the next 5 countries, I mean, if I ask you, how many babies does China have? That's only 9 million. Then it's Nigeria. If you take next 5 countries, put together, they don't have 23 million babies.
This is per day?
No, in a year.
In a year.
Per year,
okay.
In a year, right? So we have a responsibility for young children, for humanity, in a way that no other country has. And today, AI is going to become a bigger source of distraction than anything else, because it's going to produce better pornography, better gambling, better games. All of this is going to happen and is happening. And therefore, we have a neighbor who has the second highest number of babies, has put severe restrictions on what children can do with games and with things like that, right? Why? Because they're saying this is the only way to save our generation. Now, some of you may be familiar with this book by Jonathan Haidt, who essentially a very respected professor, who describes that there is a lost generation in the West based on the social media that came in 2020, 2012, calls it the lost generation. Now, the question is, that has not yet happened to India, but imagine if that happens to 23 million babies in India, and the ones who were born in the last few years. If India cannot manage it, I'm telling you the global south cannot manage it. So the responsibility that we have for the world, because this is not going to come from global north. You mentioned UPI. UPI, as you know, the protocol comes from iSpirit, is part of the India stack. And I remember the early discussions with Visa and MasterCard. And the discussions were, when UPI came out in August 2016, they had only 24 million MasterCard and Visa users. And they were upset about UPI. And we said, look, we want to get to hundreds of millions. Who's stopping you? You do it. And today, Ajay Banga is a close friend because ultimately, you know, he couldn't find a way to do it with the credit card system. So look, we therefore have a responsibility of saving the young people from the powerful, addictive distractions that AI will create. In a democratic system, different from China, if we cannot solve this problem, nobody else will solve this problem. This is therefore a unique problem to solve. Just the way I think fixing primary education is a unique problem for us to solve, because this means more to us than anything else, because we have more primary education going children than any other country in the world. So therefore, we have to embrace AI with vigor, both to minimize the bad effects in ways that have never been thought of before, and to amplify the good effects in ways that have never been thought of before. And so therefore, we have to bring fresh thinking to the table to make that happen.
Can I just
Absolutely,
add
Neelam.
some thought here? And we were talking about this when we were preparing for the session too. I look at AI and I look at it from age perspective, and Sharad has rightly said, here is the young generation, the newborn babies, and how are they going to be influenced by social media? And he's absolutely right. We don't want kids who come out with just playing games on the phones and on devices and not even seeing what's happening in the park or playing a football or something. And this whole generation which is scared to go and drive cars, and that's happened in the West, they don't want to buy cars because they don't know how to drive cars, right? We don't want that to happen to a generation which is here. But when you look at AI, I put it in two buckets. There is a generation which is 18, 15, 16, 18 plus, who are going to enter the job market, who need to know all about AI, how will it be deployed, what jobs it can create, how will it help them prepare for the current and the future. And we have a responsibility for people who are below the age of 15 to ensure they don't become the lost generation.
Yes.
You can't just say that because there is a lost generation elsewhere in the world, we are not going to use AI, but here is the big job opportunity we can't miss for the current generation, and we are struggling with employment in this country.
Yeah.
We have to have the skills to use it.
No, absolutely. Umakant, to you, delight versus dread?
No, I mean, whenever you started talking about rapid fire, then I was thinking about coffee with Karan, and of course you have probably, you know, more glamorous guests here, but yeah, I mean, nothing taking away from Sharad and others. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you have us to deal with. I think one use case, this is interesting, and this is one of the startup that, you know, reached out, and Nudge actually connected us. I've been trying to mentor them, Adalat AI, and they're trying to actually fasten the judiciary process by, you know, giving information to judges, and it's interesting because I think fundamentally, and I'm sure you're all aware about the challenges that are happening in your country with the, you know, the unsafe feeling that I have two kids, both are daughters. And I reflect about it, that fundamentally our judiciary is broken. You know, we cannot promise justice to people because it just takes too long. You know, we have 3 crore cases which are pending, and it's a shame because, you know, if I look at not probably people like us, probably we can afford good lawyers and we can afford to fight till we die and finally get justice. I mean, there are, you know, millions of people which especially were poor and were actually deprived of justice, and that's why they end up selecting politicians which have proven extrajudicial powers, right? They've gone to the jail, come out. I mean, that's the only guy who can deal with the judicial system, right? And then if it belongs to their caste or, you know, religion, then that person has incentive to listen to them. So if I look at it, I think the big challenge with our democracy is that we have a broken judicial system, and it's time that we do something about it. I mean, China actually did implement AI courts, especially in the district side of it, and they were able to speed up and because it's a big scale, I mean, you would be so shocked to realize that we have 1/6 the number of judges that are there in US, right? And we are 4 times the population of US. So you just see the asymmetry that we are actually carrying. So there is no way, that system. So on one end, it was delightful that somebody is doing about it. I mean, there are startups which are coming up, which are trying to solve it, and maybe we need to give them patient hearing. Maybe we need to accelerate their adoption, but we need to fix this, system. And it gave me delight. It also gave me a dread that what if we don't adopt it, right? And we remain the place where we are in, where, women are unsafe because they know that whoever does crimes against them or even against men as well, they will remain scot-free and they could roam around and they could do more things. So that is one challenging, quandary where I see that, it's a delightful use case, but I wish that there is a faster adoption. Yeah. The other part, which is again coming back to the perspective, when I was, going through the X.AI, and I actually logged out of Twitter a while back when I read Elon Musk's biography. I'm a huge fan of his technology thinking, but I'm probably not a great fan of his personality. And I tried to delete my data, and I came up with 404 error on Twitter. and now they have a really fun AI, which is, as she was mentioning, it might be breaking copyright laws, and definitely it's going to break a lot of norms that society runs on trust, right? We trust that whoever is on the other side is going to do a fair deal to them, right? But if you actually break that trust, it's very, very hard place to live in. So I think those are situations where we need to really build a very focused way, a cradle, because it's such a technology, as Anjali pointed out, it's very young, very raw. It could go either way. It could go friend, it could go foe. So I think the cradle that AI will grow in is going to determine which way it ends up.
Yeah. No, thank you, Umakant.
Guru, I wanted to make 2 points here.
Sure,
One
sure.
is, we are talking about a very young technology, and I was listening to all of us here, and we are talking about young people. We have no representation, even on this panel.
There.
No, but they are there. They
Yeah.
are listening. We assume that we have the answers and they are listening. I think the genie is out of the bottle. You cannot regulate children. They will do what they will do, whether they adopt more digital, less digital. The less you try and control, the more likely you are actually to get better behavior from children. I'm a recent empty nester and I feel it. It's far more productive to have very open dialogue. And hence, I will give sort of a lot of credit to Naj and Charcha and the fact that we are having this conversation, to have this open dialogue, to understand the opportunities. The opportunities are many, many-fold. There's a lot of good that can happen for humanity, including job creation, new skills, freeing up people to do better things than mundane, repetitive tasks, maybe get better agricultural yields because so many people are not doing back-breaking labor, better factory conditions because you don't have people sweltering. Look at our, our temperatures, climate change, alternative materials, better energy usage. All of that is possible, but it can be extremely harmful. And I think it would be wishful thinking if we said that we should shelter our young from it, because guess what? The young are going to do what they will do. All we can do is help build the right guardrails. Regulation definitely has a responsibility and a role to play, and governments around the world have a role to play. Society has a role to play. Yep. Civil society, and all of us here are part of that civil society, has a role to play to create that trust, to create better responsible behavior. So I think one of the opportunities which we have not talked about as much yet on the panel is what are the opportunities to create better, more responsible AI. Yeah. It will be very powerful. It will do a lot of wonderful things. Yeah. It can also do a lot of harmful things.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, I think, just one, I'm still reeling from the possibilities of an AI judge hallucinating on a case, but, that's right.
Can I tell you a story here? So in New Jersey, so one of the things in the US, I used to live in New Jersey, when I was in Lucent, AT&T Bell Labs. And so I saw this happen, and this is not even now, this is, several years ago. So what happened is that one of the things that the judges prize in the US is setting the bail terms. They're very, very particular about saying nobody is going to tell me what the bail terms are. And the success of a bail term is that the person will turn up in court next time, right? Will not escape. And so they give very variant bail terms. You must have heard somebody gets $1 million and somebody gets, $10 and stuff like that. So then the New Jersey said, look, we'll give you an expert system. It wasn't called an AI system. Yeah. It'll give you a recommendation. Then they found that the judges that were following the recommendation were getting better results than the ones who were not. So obviously what the next step was, that why do we need you to decide? Our expert systems decides better than you. So we will now give you a bail terms centrally. By the way, this is how lending used to be all based on meeting the borrower. Lending now happens in the head office by a faceless system, not even an individual. So AI has the potential to either make you a creator, democratize and make everybody here a creator. On the other side, it has the potential to create a centralization of a form that we have never seen before. So I just want to tell you that while I would be sanguine about which way it will turn out, it is not the case. So there is a deficit, a governance deficit on AI. I'm not the only one saying it. People who are Turing Award winners, the key leaders in AI is saying this. I witness it personally by being on the UN AI body, which is trying to solve this problem as a global deficit. And you should read that report when it comes out a few weeks from now. And so I think there is a problem. There is an acute problem. So sitting here and saying we can just lean back and watch this work out and hopefully good will happen, I think is a very optimistic position. Yeah. And this is not going to work out as we go forward. Huh.
No, sounds good. I want to save the last 5 minutes for an important topic that's very germane, but we will come to you, sir. The questions, you can just scan the QR code and put it in, and I'll get to the audience questions in a minute. Umakant, one quick word, and then we'll go to the final topic before we turn it over to the audience.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just reflecting back on one of the sessions where actually I was talking, and afterwards one of the users actually came up and said that, and this comes back to the point that Sharad was making, right? That while it is friend, but we need to regulate it properly. So this particular user got barred from Tinder, and maybe one of the quirks of the algorithms, but I don't know. I mean, he must have done something or whatever. This person was in college, did something. I don't know. I don't know. But the question he raised was very interesting. Is that he said that the young people are dating through one of these apps, right? And what if you actually get barred from some of these apps? There is no way for you to be in the dating cycle. And of course, it probably matters to a lot of people which are sitting here. But it raises a fair question that are those algorithms being regulated for fairness? I mean, because if every transaction is going to be eventually regulated or is going to go through these algorithms, that is something that we need to look at. And of course, Anjali talked about kids, and I agree with and concur with her that you cannot. I mean, there's no way you can regulate your kids. I mean, there's not possible at all. The best is you can actually have an open conversation with them. And I was actually having an open conversation about algorithms that rule social media, and they agreed that the algorithms are way powerful. And once you get hooked onto it, right, you can waste a lot of time because the algorithms are way more powerful. They know literally each corner of your brain.
I'm very sure there were people checking Instagram while we were talking. So
yeah, and maybe that's the algorithm working. So I think what is very, very critical and important is that we figure out a model, and this is AI just getting started, right? It's the baby. I mean, ChatGPT is the first stage of AI where it is starting to impact maybe 3 to 4% of our workflows. The next stage is where the AI agents are going to work inside the industry, again for the 10%. Then you're going to have digital and physical intelligence, which is going to impact 30 to 40% of the workflows in next 5 to 7 years, and that's a huge number. We need to find out whether that interaction is sustainable or not. Maybe we need to build these AI cities, model it properly, do checks and balances, run simulation, and then adopt it. Right now, it's like I release an API and like everybody's either getting high or low, and I don't know, somewhere in the middle.
So I'll stop you right there, Umakant, because I want to get to this very important question for the audience. I'll start with you, Anjali. I think the biggest question uppermost on everybody's mind is AI gunning for my job? Are we all going to lose jobs as a result of AI? And, in the whole construct of charcha and sustainable livelihoods, this is a very important problem to grapple with. What do you think about this important topic? Whether AI is coming for our jobs, yes, no, and if no, like, why not?
AI is not coming for our jobs. We are coming for our jobs. Because AI, again, is a tool. And it is inevitably and inexorably being used to automate, create efficiencies, improve productivities. That is sort of, we are in a market-based economy, and that is the dominant model in the world. So whether we like it or not, and the example I think about is when ATMs were introduced. When ATMs were introduced in the early 90s, late 80s also, the whole thought was so many people will lose their jobs in the banking system. Guess what? The number of jobs grew in the banking system actually. Not decreased, but grew. It's just that nature of those jobs changed, and Neelam mentioned this earlier. I think a different kind of skill set will be required. So that's one. Certainly somebody is coming for the jobs. Whether it's AI or something else, there will be increase in productivity. What it requires, hence, is a different kind of skilling and a recognition that some job skills will shift. And the role of society, government, industry, including industry, will be to facilitate that shift, the reskilling, upskilling. It is being matched, and at the macro level, it is being matched by a declining global demography. So there are fewer people who can do this kind of work, right? So not in India. In India, we actually need to create, still, I think it's 12 to 20 million jobs a year, or livelihood opportunities. So sustainable livelihoods for sure, but not disguised underemployment, unemployment, really high value jobs. I'm going to end this with an anecdote. It's going to happen one way or the other. It's what we choose to do with the people whose time is freed up, whose mental energy, whose talent is freed up. What should we do with that amazing young population that is coming through the system? That is our responsibility. Isaac Asimov wrote a short story called Franchise. And that was the ultimate disintermediation of jobs. I can see Umakant nodding his head. In Franchise, and please look it up. If you still want to imagine the future, go back and read what Asimov wrote in the 60s. All of the democratic process, the full US presidential election is reduced down to one vote. Because the supercomputer in that story, or AI, has already modeled what everybody will vote. And they have defined that one final casting vote. It's called Franchise. I'll urge you to read it. That is, we all love our democracy, we all like to vote. That is the ultimate disintermediation.
So you're saying even our job as voters might get taken away. So please, Sharad.
So how many of you think you're going to be working on the back of your intelligence? Intelligence. That's going to be the currency that will give you a job. As distinct from, brawn, or as distinct, all of you, right? Now, if I take you to 1776, if you're sitting here, and I asked you a question, and, there will be mostly men, because the workforce was mostly men at that time, and I said, how many of you have your job because of brawn or your brain? The answer would have been the brawn. Then steam engine came. Steam engine made brawn irrelevant. And factories started hiring children in their factories because they didn't need the brawn of the people. And that created a societal upheaval of a kind that you have not seen before. And in 1848, Karl Marx, with Engels, wrote the famous manifesto. So in those 200 years, from 1776 to 1976, we have lost, through communism alone, more than 100 million lives. If you count the upheaval that happened because of the Industrial Revolution, which led to the Communist Manifesto, it is probably 200 million lives. Today, you are all sitting ducks because intelligence is not needed. Intelligence is commoditized. So if somebody is here telling you, don't worry beta, sab kuch theek ho jayega, that's not the reality. Right? If you were an accountant who was good at accounting and calculators came, the accounting profession had to reinvent itself. It was all about classification of expenses and nothing to do with arithmetic anymore. So when something gets commoditized, something else takes its place. Now we don't have much time, but I think it is very important, therefore, to have a social conversation as to what is going to replace intelligence. Intelligence is a commodity. You are only as intelligent. This AI is going to have hundreds of people's intelligence into that AI. That's how you make creative things that are better than what you can make yourself. This is how it is happening today. That's how Protein, DeepMind is working. That is how Project Celeste, which is the largest project of the world to catalog astronomical objects, based on an Indian AI system called Julia out of Bangalore, is working. So the reality of AI is that it commoditizes intelligence. Just the way steam engine commoditized brawn. And what steam engine did to brawny men, this is all going to do to intelligent youngsters sitting here. So you have to reimagine. If it gives me time to come back again, I'll tell you what the answer is, but that you have to wait.
No,
I need one minute.
I think I see a lot of people smiling and thinking fondly of steam engine.
I need 1 minute. Guru.
Absolutely, Neelam.
Right?
Yes.
You needed intelligence to create AI. You need intelligence to use AI correctly. There will be multiple generations of AI which will come, which the human being intelligence will create. I agree with you and her on one thing. We need the new skills. If we don't have the new skills, we will be unemployed. So it is not about stopping the evolution of technology. It is adopting and learning the new technology which will make us relevant.
Can I add? I think what he pointed out is actually spot on. I think we're going to democratize intelligence at a scale that we have not seen before in the history of mankind. But what is actually going to replace intelligence, and I probably am stealing his answer, is purpose. Because, each of us is actually fairly unique. Our corneas are different. The data that is going into your brain is fundamentally biased because you're seeing the world in your own unique way. And that defines, and that is guided by the purpose. And that is where actually, I think all of you who were sitting here, you're actually very fortunate because you're no longer doing a job. You probably are working. And I feel that the jobs will be taken away by AI. It will be replaced by work. So job is defined by external motivation, right? Money, fame, or maybe other things, right? Work is that I want to express myself. I have got a gift. I have a purpose in my mind. I have some dreams that I want to recreate or, do in this universe. I want to work on that. So all of you are actually already working in that sense. You're no longer doing a job. You're actually working. So my sense is that, and I was having this conversation with Atul, that, purpose-driven work will become mainstream. So Nudge is going to get a lot of people working for it.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, there are some words that I never thought would come up as part of this panel discussion, steam engine being one of them, but Tinder being the other. So with that, we go to the audience section here. I've got 23 questions that have come up. We unfortunately will not have time for 23 questions, but and I will direct these questions to a specific panel member using the godlike powers that I have as a moderator. So here's the first one. And Sharad, given the way it is articulated, I think this will, you're uniquely suited to answer this. The person asking the question says, what are some of the jobs that AI cannot take over? And then they go on to add, I think the barber's job is the safest from technology revolution. What is your take on it?
I think some people say, so first I want to fully echo what Umakant said. I think purpose will play a very important role. Purpose linked with tool building versus tool use. Right? And this is why many of us are focused on this product nation thing. Because I think if you're a tool user, I'm sorry to say you're screwed. You're a serf. You're a Uber driver. You'll live a barely manageable life. If you're a tool builder, you'll have a wonderful life. Because we are rich in problems. problems will be solved by tool builders. And therefore, there will be a distinction between landlords and serfs. I'm sorry to use this communist manifesto vocabulary, will be decided by tool builders and tool users. And unfortunately, the Indian education system makes you only tool users, not tool builders. Is that fair? Right? And we have to fix this. And then those tool builders, as I said right in the beginning, have to have not only purpose, but also a moral purpose, a moral sense of where they're going. Now coming to the jobs, right? Tool building where? I think there are going to be two important things that will remain. Many people call it the dumbbell economy in the future. On one side, you'll have really experts, 1 inch wide, 1 mile deep. And on the other side are going to be the people who will be the entrepreneurs, who can bring the right people together in the right way to solve the right problem. And to pick the problem, to pick the team, to iterate to get to a solution is not something that the AI will be able to do in the foreseeable future. And therefore, you will need, now these are, as many of us have children, in fact, all of us have that. We know even from the same parents, the two children that emerge, they have different personalities, right? So you are like orchids. You got to figure out whether your child is more suited on this end of the scale or is more Sheldonish like me and therefore suited to more other end of the scale that is there. Everything that's in the middle, including the barber's job, is gone. Not gone today, okay. 10 years later.
Either we lose our hair and the barber loses his job, or the other way around. Neelam, this question for you because it's directed specifically at you. Somebody asks, Neelam ji, do you think the Indian school system and NCERT should include AI as a subject for school students?
I could talk on hours on this. Hours is the word. And
we have 4 minutes and 57 seconds.
Yeah. But all I will say is, our school system has to change to teach kids what is current. Our school system has to teach kids how to think differently and not just learn by rote. I think even our higher education system has to change how we are teaching and making them learn and discover. The word discovery is just missing in the way we teach. And the last thing I'll say is, we as a country are perhaps one of the poorest spenders on R&D and development of new products and technology. And we need brains, we need people who have that innovation, that curiosity to do R&D and develop products and technologies, which we are not doing. So as Sharad says, we use technology very well and innovatively, but we don't build it, we don't create it. Our systems have to change for that.
Oh, thank you. Anjali, something that's probably in your wheelhouse in terms of your role as an investor and how you look at markets and such. The question is basically this. We've moved from a worker-driven economy to a shareholder-driven economy. In this scenario, how do we balance the private equity approach of cost optimization with worker welfare and job security?
I think whoever asked this question is an excellent question. I personally ponder on purpose of enterprise. And again, at least our generation, we have been trained in the Western model of enterprise, which is shareholder first, profit first. And you are seeing this massive transfer of economic benefit from certainly the worker, employee, worker, whatever you call, even the consumer. So the consumer surplus is also disappearing actually into the profit margins of companies and consequently to shareholders. So the shareholder first model, probably a mid-20th century, early 20th century model in my mind requires urgently an upgrade, and it is an upgrade. We in India actually have a much better history of enterprises that are far more holistic. I'm associated with the Tata Group in many ways. And keeping the community and the purpose, going back to purpose of individuals and enterprise, which is more community-centric, while returning profits to shareholders, because that is also true. There is capital requires a return. I think it's a very fundamental question. There is this transfer taking place. It cannot be good for society. At the same time, we have yet to find a better model. So we've tried different experiments over the last, particularly in the 20th century, they haven't worked. Political systems and economic systems. So right now we are stuck with capitalism, market capitalism. I think we are due for innovation.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Umakant, I'm going to leave you with the last word, and the question is probably one that's, that you've pondered over many times. To what extent could AI take over critical thinking and process/product design roles? What the person is asking is, would AI take away ideation processes from humans?
Well, fundamentally, I see that the intelligence democratization would actually allow us more time to reflect and ponder over things. We all will become philosophers. We'll probably find more meaning. I mean, right now we probably are doing a lot of things, but maybe without much meaning into it, right? So I think the meaning-driven work will become mainstream. That's what I see very clearly. So whether it's about design, I mean, that's a fundamental challenge. We were talking about the education system, right? That, we are teaching the kids about the whole world, but we're not teaching the kid about the world that lies within his or her. And I think that is a very, very critical component that's missing, because that's your unique perspective, right? I mean, the reason why society will reward you because you're bringing something unique to it, right? I mean, money is just a way to transfer the karma, barter it. It's eventually what is the unique value that you're adding to the society. And I think that is probably defined by purpose. And, we hardly are spending any time in our education system enabling our young, children and youth to ponder over, what's their purpose? I mean, why are they here? What is a unique thing or unique skill that they have got that will really enrich the lives of people around them? So I think that's a very, very critical question. Probably Aurobindo Ghosh talked about a very interesting aspect in his book called Integral Yoga. It took me 21 years to understand him partially. I'm still trying to read and understand. He talked about a supra-conscious man, and I was like blown away by that time. I mean, 2001 I first read him, and I couldn't understand him. But I see that while we're trying to raise the intelligence and consciousness in machines, maybe as humans we probably need to work on raising our own consciousness, and maybe a surplus time could be used for that.
Thank you, Umakant. So we've unfortunately hit the end of time in terms of when we were preparing for this, we said, my God, can we really fill up all that time? One thing does remain, and it will remain unanswered, and I presume a lot of you will be doing Google searches to find out the answer. That is what Sharad tantalizingly left you with, saying, if I had one more minute, I would give you the answer. Maybe you should search for that answer, and we will let it remain a mystery. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's been very, very good. A big round of applause to the panelists, please. And now, please don't go anywhere, because we've been running this 30-hour hackathon that Google has been co-hosting along with the Nudge. And we are ready, if I'm not mistaken, to announce the winners and give away the prizes. So I would love for the panel members to remain on stage to do the honors of giving away the prizes. So if somebody from the organizing committee and the jury is here, we are ready to announce the prizes. Here we go.
Thank you so much to the jury for this amazing, insightful conversation. And like Guru said, we have had 40 teams who have been running on caffeine fuel through the night, 30 hours of hackathon. And we started this with like more than 6,000 submissions with like 1,000 business application cases, including code and videos. And over the last 30 hours, they got to iterate on it, and now we have our final top 3. We would love for this panel to give out the awards, and Guru is going to announce the winners.
I will. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So I have some handwritten notes here with somebody who absolutely has a very nice handwriting, but I will do my best to read that nice handwriting. So I'm going to announce the third position. first. And this is a team that goes by the name MADS. Is MADS in the house? So as they walk up on stage, let me tell you what MADS does. One district, one product is a government scheme that promotes artisans. Team MADS has created the app to help the artisans with a marketplace and solve for access. Well done, Team MADS. Come on over. Please. And I will do my best to photobomb from behind.
Google Gemini if you're using Pixel.
That's correct, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Team MADS. Thank you. So second position, also known as the first runner-up, and I'm going to murder this name if I don't read the letters properly. I think it is Dikshit, not Madhuri, I presume, but... So, Dixie, okay, there's an IE there. I read it as a T. Pardon me. This innovative sign-to-speech glove combines cutting-edge wearable technology for smart sign language learning. So essentially, it's an innovative sign-to-speech glove technology. Very well done. Congratulations. Come on over. And I will do my best to join in between the team to make it look like I was part of their hard work. Congratulations, Team Dixie. I always wanted to bring in Madhuri Dixit somehow into the conversation, and I succeeded. All right, this is the time to announce the grand winner. A lot of hopeful people are like, woohoo, it's me. No. So the winning team is Byte Brigade. Legal Tech A1 app to summarize court verdicts for common people. So during the panel discussion, we had quite a bit of a discussion on AI judges and such, but the winners seem to have had similar ideas. So very, very well done, Team Byte Brigade. That is right. Excellent. Hearty congratulations. Thank you very much. That is yours to take. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, folks. Well, with that, it's a wrap. You've been a very, very nice audience. 23 questions, of which I could only get to maybe 3 or 4. I apologize, but fabulous. Thank you so much.
Guru, wonderful meeting you. Thanks. I think it went off fine. People must have enjoyed it. Nice meeting you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Obligatory picture, that's all. Yes. No need to take a picture, but...
Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay, one last thing.
I've been instructed to tell you to do it long and slow.
No, I'm not going to do long. Yeah.
Seriously, he doesn't come in. It's time sensitive, please.
Okay. I think while everybody settles down. So yeah, I think this is the toughest job. The vote of thanks. I think everybody's been here for the last 2.5 days. I think I'm standing between you and either your flights home or a drink, or somebody I read was going for a foot massage. So yeah, let me begin and not take too much time. This is a tough job because there's so many people to thank, and I'm scared that I may miss out somebody. So if I do, my apologies. But let me go with this. First, of course, I'd like to thank, there have been hundreds of people who've been involved directly, indirectly in Charcha. We started this as early as Feb, and it's finally come to a close. So thank you, everybody who's been involved. Let me start by, of course, thanking our co-hosts. We've had 22 plus co-hosts this year, and amazing co-hosts, and I believe many people who've already come and said, like, listen, we need to be there in 25. So I'm hoping that, we get going sooner on Charcha 25, sooner rather than later, so that we can up the game again. Secondly, to our speakers, it's been 200 plus speakers this time. And everybody's asked, how did you manage it? It's actually been a pleasure. I mean, it's a great experience working with them. People have been so supportive. Many have changed their calendars, rescheduled their travel to come here to make it. People have even asked me, I can't make the session, can you accommodate me on another session? And as best as we could, we've done that. To the moderators for these sessions, I know they each took time out to spend time with the prepping for it. I know Guru and all the others who just got off the session spent a lot of time going over it, trying to get all the people together into this, get people together. Everybody's busy, align calendars, and do all these sessions take a lot of time. So thank you to all the moderators who were there. To our partners. I mean, let me start with Teamwork Arts. To Shams, Vasu, Sanjoy, of course, Vidhi, Dinesh, Ela, there's so many. It's really been, it's been the art of teamwork. I mean, coming together, doing this, together. It's been a fabulous experience. I'm sure we're going to build from this and look forward to building from this. Right? To Kundan, to Harsh and the entire Dramantrim team, all this production, all the cameras, everything being captured. Thank you guys, awesome work. To Hack to Skills, our hackathon, I don't know how many of you all did get the chance, you just saw the awards, but there was an amazing hackathon that happened, 140 energetic people in the room hacking overnight. Thank you all of you all for that. To Kandan and Zoho, who's been here the last couple of days supporting us. All the website, the ticketing, everything was done by Zoho. Great job, guys. And of course, to IHC, who've given us these facilities. I mean, we've really worked and we've pretty much taken this over. We made IHC Charcha, and a nudge sort of, property. And without any complaints, they've supported us all the way. So thank you to the entire Habitat Center team. To our PR agency, Weber Shanwick, and of course our media partner, The Print. Great job, guys. Thank you for that. Hopefully not forgetting. I want to call out a special thanks to Mallikarjun, Dr. Meenu, and others who helped us become more aware of certain gaps that we had while doing Charcha. I think we need to be more inclusive, not only in letter, but also in spirit, but also in letter. So thank you for that, and we've taken it on board, and we will improve with that. Right, now to to the Nudge itself, and the Nudge Institute. When we started in Feb, there were 4 of us. I think there are 100 plus now in the forum team. Officially or unofficially, I think everybody, right from Atul to Amit, everybody has become part of it, whether from all the function leads, everybody rolled up their sleeves, dived into it, whether it was CSI, EIP, PNC, finance, marketing, comms, everybody was in it. Most of them, or many of them here, some of them who are not here, I know are with us definitely in spirit, especially finance, accounts. They've been helping us right through this to make this whole process seamless. I have to especially call out Vaibhav and the entire marketing and PR team. And away, Yola. I mean, they're as much as the forum as anything else. So Vaibhav and all of you, all, Abhishek, the entire team, thank you. It's been a awesome, I guess, journey over the last month or so, or more than that, almost 2 months getting here to where we are. Finally, to the MCs, Napina, hope she's feeling better. I don't know where she is. She said it was like sitting in an ice box behind, but Napina, Shirley, Parna, and Gayatri, thank you. I think, you know, you're pros. You've done a fabulous job. To the hunters, the farmers, I guess this is agri space. So the hunters, the farmers, all our volunteers, I'm sure each of them have clocked more than 10,000 steps every day. I know I've been doing much more than that. So thank you, guys. And to my team, to my version of AI, which is Anusha Intelligence, I mean, friend or foe? That's a question I have to ask myself now. But just keep persistently pushing me to do better and reminding me, and also thank you for that. To Dennis, I can't see Dennis, I don't know where he is. Dancing somewhere. Where Dennis? And Lokesh. Guys, thank you. You made sure everybody came here on time, stayed well, got fed, and of course everything ran smoothly. So thank you, Dennis, Lokesh. To Manoj, for everything that he's done by controlling. He's backstage, or I don't know where he is, maybe backstage. Oh, there. Yeah, for controlling everything and making and single-handedly managing the hack, which, the culmination of which you saw. And of course to the three out here, Polami, Mrinalini, and Rhythm, who were thrown in at the deepest end of the pool and, just made us swim. You all handle it with, and of course Anish, who's not here, who timed with us and who all helped out. To make Charcha as seamless and as smooth as possible. And finally, to all of you all in the audience, I mean, without you all, you all are the people who inspire us, to keep us motivated. You are the wind beneath our wings and push us to do better, and hopefully we will do better. So thank you, everybody, and see you in, I guess, at Charcha 25. Thank you. Can we get all the nudge team up here? Everybody from the nudge, all the hunters, farmers, volunteers. Yeah, just come for a photo, everybody.